Welcome back to Wager Talk TV. This is First Pitch for Tuesday, July 28th. My name is Andrew McInnis, joined by Teddy Covers, Mid-Major Matt Josephs, and Dave Cokin. We're going to go around the horn and start things off just by seeing how everyone did yesterday and how we're feeling. Mid-Major Matt, I'll start with you. You are the featured $2 handicapper at sportsmemo.com. First of all, I want to get a little deal right out of the way. I want to just advertise this for you right away because you're off to a hot start, 6-1 in the season. You're doing a lot of free plays. Anybody out there can get Matt Joseph's next 365 days, all sports, including 5% releases, $799, regular $19.99. How you doing, Matt?
Yesterday was quite the roller coaster. Had the first five for the Royals. Saw them go down big. Figured that was done. Then they go through that offensive explosion, get the win there. And then I see Adrian Hauser come out after a 1 hour plus rain delay. And I'm thinking, what the hell is Counsell doing by putting him back out there? He gives up the home run and then settled down that first 5 under hit. So I went 2-0 yesterday.
Teddy Covers, first time doing a show with you. It's a privilege. I hope you've been doing well in Vegas. And sports are coming back slowly but surely. How you doing?
Well, it's not that slowly, dude. I mean, we got baseball last week. We got NBA this week. We got NHL.
It's not slowly now, but.
and then, I mean, so basically, we gone from 4 months. For me, I didn't have any sports going. I wasn't working Korean baseball. I know that there were some guys that did really well with that. I wasn't one of those guys. So I'm basically going from sitting on my ass to not sitting on my ass. And that's a very good thing.
Well, I hope you enjoyed sitting on your ass you could. Teddy.
I didn't. I honestly, it didn't suit me. I didn't feel good about it. I didn't have a day that I feel great today.
What did you fill your time with?
I spent a lot of time working on football.
Oh, okay.
That's you're up a 2-0 sweep yesterday.
I feel real good about this upcoming football season. And I spent a lot of time goofing off. I hung out with, I spent a lot of time with my son. And that's okay. In 20 years, I hadn't taken a break, and to have a period like that is fine. But there's always that, that nagging uncertainty, and what am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing with myself? I'm glad we have sports back, and I'm glad. I know Matt went 2-0 last night. I went 2-0 last night as well. One that got off to a miserable start. I had the Astros in the run line, and the Mariners up 3-0 early. But I honestly wasn't too worried about that. Houston's fine. Houston has found their offense and. Simple concepts. Astros off a loss. Astros run line off a loss is something that I'm absolutely looking to take advantage of early in the season. The other play I had the Cubs Reds over the total. I'm going to continue to bet Cubs games over the total. We'll talk about that when we get to Chicago in a minute. But their lineup is good. Their bullpen is bad. That's what I look for. And that was fully on display last night. 4 in the top of the first, 2 in the top of the second. The bullpen almost blows it. Every inning the bullpen was in, they gave up at least 1 run. Lester pitched great, but the over got there with room to spare. So no complaints off of last night.
So a sweep for Teddy. Also NBA action up. Like you said, we do have sports coming back in full. NBA starting in just a couple of days. Teddy has cashed in 58% since All-Star break in the NBA. Dave Cokin, 10-1-1 baseball run. All of us are rolling right now. How are you feeling? I mean, both KBO and MLB going pretty great for you right now.
Yeah, my perfect season went down the drain, though. I was hoping to hit 100% for the year, and it's not going to happen. I had the Nationals, and they didn't get there. They had opportunities early in the game, but they just could not come up with a hit that mattered. And somebody mentioned, well, the out hit doesn't mean much. It's out total base is a more important stat. And the Brewers, whoever they played,
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays. The Blue Jays won that because they had 4 balls out of the park. A total bases mean more than hits. If that's a stat you're tracking, it's just like slugging percentage means more than batting average, at least to people like me. Anyway, 3 plays tonight. I have 1 featured play, and then if you're on for my all access, you'll get the other 2 plays plus a KBO selection, which I just posted before the show began. So I actually have 4 plays going, 3 Major League and 1 KBO, and I'm expecting good results.
And if any of the viewers are keeping track, that the Blue Jays are 1-0 when I wear my Blue Jays jersey on the show. Just if anybody's wondering for that little stat there. Mid-Major Matt, what do you have up at Sports Memo? Like I said, I know you're a $2 Tuesday handicapper. Anything else for you as far as other sports or anything like that?
No, just there is a free play on there. We'll get into it a little bit later on. So there's a free play and the $2 selection that's up on sportsmemo.com.
And Teddy, obviously, like you said, you have NFL up, NBA. What's going on for MLB today?
Single best bet at MLB for tonight. Slugfest that I expect to go over the total with room to spare. I've been looking for overs early season, which I don't do in March and the beginning of April. But in the middle of summer, with what some of these bullpens have looked like, with what is going on with the relief pitcher rule where you have to go 3 batters, and with extra innings where you have, the extra innings is very real in terms of its impact on total. So I am looking for overs in particular right out of the gate. We've done all right with them so far, and we've got one that's really stood out for me tonight.
As someone back in overs as well, Teddy, I've been loving the new rule with the pitcher staying in. I mean, you hear the commentators saying countless times, boy, oh boy, this manager would love to yank this guy right now, or would love to get this guy out, and you're sitting there saying, yes, stay in there. So
throw me one more meatball. Exactly. Give me that one meatball. That's all I asked for.
Yeah, definitely. For myself personally, just like Teddy, I have one best bet up off a 2-0 day yesterday. I had the Oakland A's in the afternoon game on the money line, back-to-back days cashing with the A's. And I have to mention it because although there were the chances, I think there was 3 times the bases were loaded. I got the Pirates and the Brewers over the 9.5. An unbelievable last couple of innings. I ended up cashing the live over 5.5, and the full game comes through. So without further ado, guys, if we may, let's get right into the games. We'll start with the Cubs and Reds. I found it quite a bit of an interesting pitching scenario here. We've got a couple guys that are, not near ace quality, to say the least, but, going to be decent. I'll start with you, Teddy, on this one. Cubs and Reds, your thoughts, side or total here?
No, I think Cubs and Reds, are we going first? Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry. My screw up.
Yeah, so from a side standpoint, Cincinnati they haven't been right. And both the two most hyped teams for the wise guy teams in Vegas were the Reds in the National League and the White Sox in the American League. And going into the season, my thought process was these teams may end up being good, but right now the markets are ahead of the quality. And that hasn't changed one bit. I'm still looking right now. That may change in a week or two. But right now, Cincinnati's a one-way team for me. Either I'm betting against them or I'm not getting involved in the game. And I have all kinds of questions about the Cubs bullpen. The Cubs bullpen has been bad. Was bad again yesterday. But that lineup is as potent as it gets. And you put them in a ballpark like you find in Cincinnati, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Cubs do some real damage today. From a side standpoint, I would definitely look at Chicago. From a total standpoint, I'm only betting overs right now, so you know which way I'm leaning in that direction.
Rizzo draws a walk, hit by a pitch, and a home run on the day. Love to see that guy get hot. I look to see this team go over as well countless times with that bullpen. Mid-major, Matt, anything for yourself on this game, side or total?
Well, no, but I do think it's interesting, and I know we'll do the DFS stuff later. I mean, Mills has a 29% miss bat rate, and if he can fix the little home run problem he's had, he might be a cheap option if you see a lot of good hitters you like tonight as a cheap option to potentially get some strikeouts. We know the Reds can strike out. Tyler Mahle is an inconsistent guy. He's got good numbers against the Cubs. A lot of the Cubs' best hitters have had some problems with him. Hayward's 1 for 13. Bryant's 2 for 8. Rizzo 2 for 10. Contreras is 2 for 10. So should be a little interesting tonight. I might be looking to Mills as a cheap option potentially in DFS.
And Dave, especially, looking at some of these stats, we talked about this yesterday, how long we're really going to look at last season and not just this season. You mentioned, both these pitchers actually have had success against the opposition. How much do you take that really into account?
I don't, because they're different lineups from one year to the next. And it just, somebody, I think it was, I don't remember who it was, did a pretty in-depth study on wagering off past performance batter versus pitcher. And it turned out to be one of the most useless things of all time. Actually, a complete waste of time. So while you might want to use it for daily fantasy sports, if you're using it for your handicapping, it's not going to hurt you. It's not going to help you either. The interesting thing, Mahle's a really interesting pitcher. This guy was a study in bad luck last year. Whenever he pitched well, he either got no run support or the bullpen blew the lead for him. And then the games he didn't pitch well, Well, he obviously lost those as well. And he had at one time this ridiculous streak of games where the Reds had lost every single time he pitched. I don't remember what it was, but it was a lot. He's due for some positive luck regression, and I don't think he's a bad pitcher. It's not going to make my card because the Reds aren't playing right well, and they might be pressing a little bit. But I think Malley might pitch well tonight, and I lean to the Reds in this game.
Just like many, theories that we've talked about, and we've talked about this ad nauseum already over just a few, days of doing this first pitch show. I think this game will be a very perfect example, guys. If you're looking for under, look first 5. Looking for over, look full game. Wouldn't want to touch, either way and the other side. If I'm going to let this game go over, I'm going to let the bullpens push that one over for me and have the full 9 innings to do the work for me. Cardinals, Twins. We'll start right back with you, Dave, in this contest. Cardinals set a major league record last year for home runs. We have this Twins team, both their victories on the season so far, double digits. Their loss, the opposition scored double digits. What do you feel about this team right now as far as totals or side go?
They are what they are. I mean, they're a team that can bomb away. The pitching is going to be a question mark. If they hit like they did last year, then they'll win the division. If they don't, they might get caught by somebody. Although, there's a couple of teams in that division who probably can't catch them regardless. And Homer Bailey is the perfect illustration of the Minnesota pitching staff. I mean, his job is to go out and pitch 6 innings and give up 3 runs, but you don't know if Homer Bailey's going to do that for you. He's actually been decent first time through the order, but the more guys get to look at him, the worse he gets. And that could be the case tonight. What really is interesting to me in this game is Carlos Martinez moving back into the rotation for St. Louis. He pitched strictly in relief last year, mostly as a matter of protection, I guess. But Martinez has made it clear he wants to be a starting pitcher, and he's got his opportunity to start here. Not exactly the easiest opponent to do it against. He's not facing the Giants here. He's facing the lethal Minnesota Twins. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see on Carlos Martinez. It's a game that I quickly eliminated because I just don't know what to make of Martinez in a situation where he's going to be facing guys hopefully a couple of times through the order, and we'll see how he handles it.
Mid-Major Matt, once again, $2 Tuesday handicapper at sportsmemo.com. 6-1 run to start the MLB season off. You can get his 365 days, all action, $799, regular, $19.99. Great deal. All of you guys take advantage of that over at sportsmemo.com. Once again, you can find Teddy, of course, I didn't mention it, at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com. What are your thoughts on this contest here, Matt?
Well, I very rarely back Bailey. I just think he's a very mediocre pitcher when he's not on. I'm just not a Homer Bailey guy. I'm looking at the Twins lineup. They did put it out. The usual suspects are in there. Donaldson 2, Cruz is hitting 4, Eddie Rosario is hitting 5. If anything, for me, if I was to play anything, I'd potentially play the Cardinals in the first 5 because you get Martinez. Hopefully he gets through those 5, and I could fade Bailey at a decent price there, take the bullpens out of it. But much like Dave, I want to see what Carlos does coming out, starting now. He's stretched out. He seems like he's going to throw enough pitches here, but this might be a wait-and-see situation or even potentially a live bet if a certain situation comes up.
Mr. Teddy Covers off a sweep yesterday's card. How do you feel about this pitching matchup?
So just a couple of brief points I want to get back to from the last game, and I'll talk about this in just a second. Molly, 4-17. They were in his first 21 starts last year before winning 3 of his last 4. We were talking about that ugly streak that he had. He was 1-7 to open the season. The team was 1-7. He certainly was not a profitable pitcher. I do, and you talked about Mills as a potential cheap-priced starting pitcher today. I would have some concerns there. The wind is blowing out, and if you've been watching the games in Cincinnati, the ball's really been carrying there. So the ball's been carrying like crazy, and the wind's blowing out to right tonight. So that's something I would be a little bit concerned about. This matchup, look, Homer Bailey is a guy you cannot trust tonight. Carlos Martinez is a guy you cannot trust tonight. Do we trust either bullpen? We do not. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with you're going to see a theme here. I wouldn't talk anyone out taking the over in this game, especially with the Twins lineup that pounded up 27 runs in their first 3 games. I'm not convinced St. Louis can go run for run with Minnesota. That Twins offense is particularly potent coming out of the gate. So I do think St. Louis correlates. If you like the Cardinals side, you may want to put an under in there. I think they correlate with a lower scoring game.
Yeah, Teddy, to use a basketball phrase, trading baskets, I think that no team should want to trade runs with this Minnesota Twins team. That's for sure.
Oh, maybe the Astros or the Dodgers.
Okay, not no team at all, but the majority of teams in general. Dave, this game, like you always calculate your odds. You create your odds before you look at it. What did you have this as when you were, looking at things before?
I think, if you're just talking pure value, it's kind of cheap on the Twins. I did make it higher. The Twins are a legit team. Okay, they won this division last year by a mile. They've got a great offense. And about 20 range. Let me see what it is right now. Just punch up my Don Best screen, the most valuable screen in the business.
It's around minus 148, 150.
Oh, okay. Well, forget that. Okay, so the sharp bettors got on that real quick, and they drove it up to where it probably should have been in the first place. $1.22 or so was the opener. That was too cheap, and I was seriously considering the Twins, but I knew the line was going to go up and nobody would get that price. That's part of what I do with my Wager Talk plays. If I know a line's going to move, I'm not going to put it out because all it does is piss people off and they can't get the right price. And it's more important in football because if I give a game out of plus 3.5 and you get plus 2 on the weekend, I might win it and you might lose it. But in baseball, it still matters as well in terms of getting the most bang for your buck in terms of money line value.
Before we get into the Dodgers versus the Cheaters game, I just wanted to shout out our package for the entire season. Grab a full season package from any one of us here on this panel in the MLB for the code 399MLB for $399. Once again, that's 399MLB coupon code to get any of us for $399.
And a quick point to make, because I think it just has to be made, is that if this Marlins thing balloons and they have to stop play, we're not stealing your money, okay? You'll get a credit or a refund. Wager Talk's really good about that, okay?
I want to mention as well, for myself personally, for Dave Cokin as well, anybody else that is doing the Korean baseball, because we are still doing it, just because the show has stopped, we are still rolling with it. If you buy our baseball package in the MLB this week, we will also toss in the remainder of our KBO season for free. I'm currently on an 11-2 run in the KBO, 7-1 MLB run to start this season off. So we wanted to toss in the Korean baseball. I had some people messaging me, why'd you and Dave stop doing the show? Look, MLB is back. MLB is back, but we're still doing the show. So I thought that was fair.
We're still doing the games.
Definitely. They're still playing the games. Yeah.
I have a KBO play tonight on a game I think will be very high scoring, and I've won 6 straight there, so things are cooking in the KBO. We're at 10% fan capacity now. There are actually fans at the games because in that country, I'm not going to get into it.
Okay.
Don't go there.
Dodgers Astros, Dave. Just to get back on track here, I'll throw it back to you to get your thoughts on this one. I don't want to talk about what we see online and all that kind of stuff too much, but honestly, it's fun to do. It's fun to see what the public is saying, and a lot of people are saying, and we mentioned it yesterday on the show, with the new added extension to the amount of teams that are going to pop in the playoffs, the Dodgers, quote for quote, slow start. You said they could just kind of lollygag their way through the season and coast towards the playoffs.
Yeah,
this game means something.
Oh yeah.
I don't think a lot of people like to agree with the saying this team is going to get up for this one a lot more or highly motivated. I think you can bet your ass this is a little more of a situation where we can guarantee they're a little motivated.
Yeah, I think the Dodgers kind of thought they had an easy sweep against the Giants. They smashed them all over the place in the first couple of games, and then had a bad weekend. I have to take this call. So you guys talk, and I'll be right back.
The man of many phone calls. Teddy, I swear it's 3 a day. The most popular man I know and I've met. I'll throw it to you, Teddy.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I like to do before I get on air is I mute my phone.
Okay. I'll call you as soon as I'll text you.
But that's, people know I'm on air, and I'll get back to you. I've got a free play on this up right now at both Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. Okay. And you already know what it is. It's on the over in this ballgame. Dodgers over is going to make us money. Astros over is going to make us money. All right. These aren't two good lineups. These aren't two great lineups. These are the two best lineups in baseball. 1 through 9. Not really that close, in my opinion. So there are handicappers who put a lot of emphasis in starting pitching. I put most of my emphasis on the lineups and the bullpens. And these are two lineups. They're one-way lineups for me. I'm playing overs or I'm not getting involved. From a side standpoint, certainly the concept of Walker Buehler at a relatively cheap price and a motivated Dodgers team stands out. But I really thought the total was the better bet than the side. I have some Dodger Astros over in my pocket.
Yeah, and Teddy, maybe not applicable in this matchup, but obviously you do like the overs, so you would, probably like some team totals. The Houston Astros and the Dodgers are going to be heavy favorites in a lot of their games this season. We saw the Astros big favorites yesterday. I recommended the team total yesterday as it was relatively low in my books. Are you a team total better, and is that something that you would advise as well?
I am a team total better. I have no issues whatsoever. Anyone wants to play team total over. That said, I wanted the full game over here. And if I was only going to bet one of the two team totals over, it would be Dodgers. The Dodgers line, especially off back-to-back less than stellar showings. But, I mean, Buehler, when Buehler is in midseason form, he's as good as anybody. I'm not convinced he's going to be in midseason form in the opener. There's more ifs about his performance. So I would say the Dodgers would be the side that I would be more likely to get involved with the team total over here. But I think the full game over is the one that makes the most sense for this bettor.
Matt Joseph's $2 handicapper over at Sports Memo. What are you thinking with this contest?
Well, as Teddy said, a little bit of my concern with Buehler is he hasn't faced anybody else. I mean, he was a little behind when he came into camp. He's only faced his own hitters, and Dave's already talked about, how much we can pull from the intra-squad stuff. So maybe he's a little rusty early on, which goes to what Teddy says about the over. And Valdez, he had ugly numbers last year, over 70.2 innings. Who knows how long he's going to go? And the guys behind him, who's to say they're any good? And the Dodgers are going to take advantage of that. So I do like where Teddy's thinking about that over.
Dave, what did the Dodgers beat reporter just call you about?
No, that was Debbie. I mean, we've known each other now for about 26 years, and she has never once been able to figure out my clock. She used to call during the radio show all the time.
You know what, Dave? I respect you for answering it. Honestly, respect.
She's awesome. She's a great girl, but time is not one of her strengths. I think that's no offense to any women out there, but that does seem to be a woman thing. They don't clocks and women don't get along. If you want a system, by the way, for getting your lady ready on time, which I know can be a chore, lie about the time she has to be ready.
Life advice. I love it.
No, I'm
Dave.
serious. Tell her a half an hour earlier than it actually is, and then she'll be ready a half an hour late, but you'll actually be on time. It's a system that works.
Did that last weekend with dinner plans. Worked perfectly.
Yep. So anyway, as far as this game goes, I think the Dodgers are the obvious side here for obvious reasons, and I don't disagree with it. I think Buehler, even if he's not at his sharpest, has an edge of Valdez, who has not proven to me yet that he's capable. I know they have high hopes for him. He's a good prospect, but his major league credentials at this point are in question. And the Dodgers' offense is going to be fine. Just because they had a couple of sleepwalk games in San Francisco, I wouldn't worry about that offense very much. I think they'll do some scoring here. And we'll see what happens in the late innings.
Yeah,
go ahead, Teddy.
I'll just say worth noting that the early season, but right now the Astros, the Dodgers rank 1 and 2 in on-base percentage.
Yeah. Well, the Dodgers basically had a 1,000 on-base percentage the first couple of games and then slumped a bit over the weekend.
We are very, very close at Wager Talk TV to 50,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel. And this YouTube channel hasn't been around for too long. The content that is being produced just every single day, at least 4 videos every day during the pause in major sports. So many people being involved in different types of videos. I know Teddy was doing betting 101 videos. Dave, myself, the KBO. I know mid-major Matt was doing football preview shows. I mean, the amount of content you're getting at Wager Talk TV is second to none. If you're watching this video right now and you are not subscribed, please do us a favor, hit that subscribe button. If you have about 4 or 5 other burner accounts, log into those accounts as well. Hit the subscribe button and get that number up for us. Guys, this is the part of the show, the MLB Rundown, quick hits. We're going to just kind of run through. I'll shout someone's name out. We'll go about 45 seconds to a minute. But, I mean, with the great minds we have on here, it's definitely acceptable to go on unless you guys have plans directly following. But we got a doubleheader, 2 games, obviously one to make up here. I'll throw it back to you, Teddy, here. White Sox, Indians. It's at 3:40 Eastern time, first pitch.
You're not going to like my take on doubleheaders because I literally don't handicap them. It's something that I started doing when I first moved to Vegas. There are too many questions about who's going to be in the first game, who's going to be in the second game. And in a year with this much uncertainty, makes it easy for me. I take the White Sox and Indians doubleheader. I take it off my card. It shortens my workload a little bit and makes it a little bit easier for me, makes it more functional. But I know that there are those out there who do handicap at least game one of these doubleheaders. So you may want to ask another guy their opinion.
Dave, is there a situation you look for, maybe like based off what we saw in game one, to look at for maybe game two, bullpens being used, so on and so forth?
Yeah, maybe. But that's that's something that gets determined as the first game gets played. But I'm largely like Teddy. I did have a play in the Indians yesterday, which got rained out. I did not play it back today. And first of all, the line went up. And secondly, I just don't like doubleheaders. So it's a pass for me.
Two honest opinions, but not much there. Matt, what do we have here?
Oh, gosh, putting me on the spot here. I don't usually play. I certainly don't play the second game of any doubleheader, especially beforehand. And I have to see the lineups, and the lineups are out right now. It looks like a lot of the stars are in for both teams right now. I mean, we talked about it yesterday. The lean was to Saval, but as Dave said, the price has gone up. So I don't think there's any value right there.
No, at $1.25, I thought the Indians were a good play in that game. And it ain't $1.25 anymore, folks. What is it now? It's actually come back down a little bit to 135, but I don't want it even at 135. Too late. I'm not playing it.
There's a legit buyback on the White Sox here for what it's worth. Yeah. I mean, Westgate is 127 right now, and it was not 127 when we were reviewing this lines before we got on here.
White Sox are still. I mean, they had a bad weekend against the Twins, but White Sox are still a very popular option with the betting market right now. They got bet in all 3 games against the Twins. And I don't think fans are going to give up on them this quickly.
Teddy, a lot of sports bettors say their favorite team is the team that their money is on. Being from the East Coast of Canada or Canada in general, Toronto Blue Jays are my only team close to me. However, they aren't even playing in Canada this year. I was going on yesterday about how they're a textbook team. They get guys on base. Where'd that go yesterday? Just solo shots. What are you thinking about this Nationals Jays game 2?
I know that I have no interest in laying a price with the Nationals, so it's Toronto or pass for me. And they have been taking good at-bats, all right? As a team, they've been taking good at-bats. There's certainly talent there in Toronto. This isn't a hopeless squad. And from a pitching standpoint, am I interested in Roark going back to D.C.? There's worse bets out there than taking a plus price with the Blue Jays today. Last year was not a fluke for Washington, but I'm not seeing any signs of a repeat.
Not the same lineup.
No, not close to the same lineup.
No, it's not the same lineup. And you saw evidence of that last night. I mean, they had a bunch of hits, but they were all singles, and I think they had 1 double, maybe 2 doubles.
Dave, nothing shocks me with this Jays team. I've seen them blow so many leads. You'd think I'd have no hair at the young age that I have, and looking at this team,
well, that's not a wig.
Yeah, it's coming for you, Andrew.
I wish I could tell you it is. Yeah. I would describe this team, if I'm going to be betting them, first 5 innings, and that's looked to be pretty successful, whether it's plus a half or minus the half. How do you feel about that theory?
It depends on one game to the next. I don't have any overall real tendencies in baseball. I just look at each schedule and break down each game individually, so I can't really give you a good answer. As far as this game's concerned, They priced me off the Nationals. I'm not a big Tanner Roark guy. I don't know why everybody's making a big deal about him. A really solid addition to the rotation. Tanner Roark's a 4, maybe a 5. He's just not that good. Fourth is a guy who I actually like him. I think he's got some upside for the Nationals and might be a decent pitcher. He has not shown yet that he can go deep into a game, but that might come with experience. I think he's a little underrated right now. But the betting market doesn't think so, and the odds makers didn't think so. They made the Nationals pretty good-sized favorites here, and it was more than enough to get me off the game.
Mid-major Matt, what are you thinking here in this contest?
Roark's on my do not bet list for the most part, especially against a team who knows what he has pretty much. The thing I want to see here is if Soto plays tonight. Now I know they had one 24-hour negative test. I don't know if he's negative going into the game. Can he play tonight or can he only play tomorrow? Because obviously you guys talk about the lineup. Well, it makes a big difference if Juan Soto's in there. So it'll be interesting to see if he's not in tonight with a negative, then he'll probably be in there tomorrow with a negative, and that's probably something to note.
I think that Price was made with the assumption that he might be playing because he's actually, he's kind of worth he's worth a nickel anyway. I don't know if I haven't not seen the lineup yet.
Bo Bichette looks like he's going to be out for
Toronto. He is. And I think
Grisham is a question mark as well.
Shaw is away from the team for a day or two.
So that's the left side of their infield that's missing.
It's part of the reason
Soto's on the IL. Soto's not coming back today.
Oh, no, I think he needs one more negative, and he can because the IL is being worked differently this year.
Okay.
Mr. Tony Finn is in the house. Tony Finn says there's no replacing Rendon, and without his bat in the lineup, the Nats are offensively pedestrian. And with that being said, we have somebody also asking in this thoughts on the first five under 5.5. I assume this is what he's saying.
Not for me. I don't like. Again, I'm not betting unders when Roark's on the mound. I know I think less of him. I don't think less of him than the panel, evidently. But I think we, as a group, think less of him than the talking heads on TV who keep on talking like he's a big acquisition for the Blue Jays. And he's not. He's an innings eater. That's it.
But the fact that he can eat innings is something that they,
but they don't say that.
Yeah.
They're talking, I keep on, turn on baseball tonight. They're talking about him like he's a number 2 starter.
He's a number 6.
Yeah, I don't think he's that bad, but he's a 4 or a 5, and that's not a real good pitcher in Major League Baseball.
There's nothing worse. I watch a lot of sports. I think NBA can be bad for it, but MLB homer commentators are horrible.
No, these are the national guys. These are the national guys. But this is the problem when you hire all ex-ball players to be your analysts because they really don't. They know what's going on. They know what's going on between the lines. They understand the game of baseball perfectly because they played it, but they really don't understand the analysis part of it for the most part. Some do.
Andrew, you are right though. FP Santangelo is terrible. I had to watch a lot of Nats games being in that area. He is one of the worst. Homer. He
and Carpenter they might be the biggest homer combo.
Terrible.
The Rays guys are pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, being in Canada, both the Raptors and the Jays, it's just horrible. I mean, everything's a foul against the Raptors, and everything was out of the strike zone for the Jays. I mean, it's just a horrible world they're living in, to say the least.
Well, that's why the Red Sox, when they've got Remy and Eckersley on, fantastic because they really don't give a shit. Eckersley got into a big beef with David Price because he gave an honest appraisal on the air. Let's put it that way. And Price didn't like it, and they don't care. If the Red Sox do something bad, they talk about it.
I cashed a free play with Tampa Bay yesterday, tweeted that one out. They're going again here against this Brave squad. Throw it to you, mid-major Matt. Your thoughts on this one here. We're seeing the Rays around minus 135, 140 favorites.
Well, I'll sit this one out because this is the $2 play for today. My thoughts on this game. So I will pass this on to one of the other gentlemen.
Nice little segue. Teddy Covers, on to you, my friend.
So, I mean, I'm modest. So I have a modest lean towards the Rays, but nothing that I even came close to getting to the window with. And some of that's the fact that certainly this kid Wright is someone who has garnered some respect in the betting markets for Tampa. But that said, again, my focus is much more on bullpens and lineups, and I've got my concerns about the Braves bullpen right now, all over the place. And obviously, Folty getting DFA'd yesterday.
How about that?
After he started a playoff game for them. He started Game 5, but he clearly had nothing left. It's not a fresh pen, and that's something of a concern for me. Lean is to Tampa. They're hitting the ball right now.
And I like Chirinos. He's turned out to be.
They're taking walks.
This is the interesting thing. Now, Roark, for some reason, gets overrated by the guys on TV. Chirinos, nobody pays any attention to. This guy's pretty good last year. Now, he was a positive test, and he had to sit out for a while. But he's come back, and I I don't know how deep he's going to go in this game. Probably not that deep. But Kevin Cash can mix and match the bullpen as well as anybody. Kyle Wright, very small sample, but really good first time through the lineup and really bad. I mean, really bad after that. So we'll see what happens if he gets to the fourth inning or so in this game, if the Rays start to take advantage of him.
Brewers Pirates. I'll throw it back to you, Dave. We'll go in reverse order on this one. I'll start with this. As an overbacker in yesterday's game, Yelich on the mound, up to the plate, back-to-back times. He had a grand slam opportunity, bases juiced, did nothing really with it. And I think that's going to be the problem. We're going to see some guys, we're going from 162 games to 60. It's going to happen. However, they did get that rally. They did come back. I'm not sure if you're really much of a positive momentum kind of guy, but if you are, you got to like that ninth inning rally.
I'm not a positive momentum guy. It doesn't mean anything in baseball.
And again, it is the Pirates.
Yeah, the Pirates could have some negative momentum, but that's going to be a permanent thing with them because they suck. Can you imagine Feliz being the guy they're using to close games? Don't want any part of Derek Holland. Lindblom will be interesting as he returns to the major leagues after being a star in Korea. I mean, he we'll see if he straightened things out. He was a guy who at one time was thought about as a very good prospect, and it didn't work out. But, I would have to look at the Brewers here. Unfortunately, the price precludes me actually betting them, but I think the Brewers are winners in this game.
So, Teddy, on the topic of that price, based off the slow start yesterday, what you've seen from this Brewers team, run line, money line, team total, is anything like that something you're comfortable backing with this Brewers team right now?
If I was playing, I might play again. I'm not someone that hesitates to play the run lines, square or not square. When I'm going to back a favorite at a big price, and given the nature of the Pirates bullpen, and again, if I'm in this situation where I want to lay a price, or I'm going to lay a -1.5 with the team, I'm always betting on a lineup or against a bullpen, not so much the starters. Pittsburgh's bullpen is very, very easy to bet against. Okay, as you found out last night, they are as bad as it gets in MLB, but the Brewers lineup isn't. They're where they hit 201 right now.
Mm-hmm. Yelich has
91 OPS.
Yelich has one hit.
Teddy, I'll tell you one thing that makes me mad. And my dad, my old man, played ball growing up. He says, swing the bat. Swing the bat. The ball's right down the middle. These guys are not even just striking out. They're just watching. They're watching the game. They might as well buy a ticket, and you can't even do that. They're not putting in good at-bats.
Well, I mean, they played 4 games where they have 38 strikeouts. There are teams that are way worse. Tigers have struck out 55 times already. The Braves 52. The Royals 46. All way worse than Milwaukee. That said, Milwaukee, we expect to score runs. Like Atlanta we do, and we just haven't seen that from the Brewers. And I'm not going to – when they get there, we'll start playing some Brewers over. We'll start back at Milwaukee. Pittsburgh's certainly a team I want to fade, but not until the Brewers show signs, which they haven't done yet.
Teddy covers off a sweep of yesterday's baseball card. Also, NBA action up 58% in the NBA post All-Star break. Mid-Major Matt, our $2 handicapper at sportsmemo.com. Follow him on Twitter at Mid-Major Matt. Your thoughts on this contest, Brewers, Pirates?
Well, this was my free play today. I'm going to take a chance on the first 5 under. The Brewers looked good yesterday off of a bad bullpen, as everyone else has talked about. But to me, look, and I don't like Derek Holland. I don't think he's very good. But I don't think this Milwaukee lineup is very good right now. I think Lindblom, the first time through, can go through a pretty mediocre Pittsburgh lineup. I think even if that goes to the second time through, I think he's got enough pitches that he could keep them off balance. So I'll take a shot that Holland doesn't completely blow up this bet, give up 6 runs in the first 5 innings, and I'll take the under 5.5 in the first 5.
And Matt, we look at this game we saw yesterday from KC and Detroit. I don't really know what to say. I mean, what a start that was. If you had the over, first of all, it didn't take long. I mean, you were just cracking a cold one pretty early in that one. First of all, how do you look to bet this one after what we saw yesterday? And are you looking to be involved in any games involving this Tigers team at all this year?
Well, I mean, I was technically involved with the Royals last night in the first 5. But I don't see myself betting often with the Tigers unless it's an over. I mean, the offense is okay. there are some decent hitters in that lineup. Today we're getting an opener. The lineup just came out. It's a kid, Ronnie Garcia is going to be the starting pitcher, but who knows? He's going to go an inning or two. Zimmer has already pitched an inning out of the bullpen for the Royals, so you're just going to see a whole bunch of arms on both sides. I mean, I would lean to the over, but can you trust both offenses consistently to get there? I liked what I saw from Kansas City yesterday, but can they consistently get to that level? And I don't know.
Teddy, I'm seeing close to a pick-em price here in this matchup. Also with the pitching matchup, we were waiting for information, like Matt said. What are you thinking here in this one? Any action for you?
So I don't like losing money with bad teams. All right, that's one of my. There are times where you find value with a very bad team. You're like, all right, yeah, I can take a price here. This is a pick-em game between two teams that will be competing for last place. Either squad could screw up, and no one would be surprised. Certainly, we've seen, I don't know. I mean, Kansas City has what they did yesterday. Maybe it was the Tigers pitching, but I've seen a little bit more from the Royals lineup. There's a couple guys for KC. They're in real good form right out of the gate. Slightly into KC. Nothing I'll get to the window with.
I agree with that, Teddy. I mean, sometimes you can find value in many sports betting on, poor teams and looking at a really, I used to call it the toilet bowl matchup, the battle of not being the worst pretty much. But preferably, I'd like to look at totals with these matchups. Dave Cokin, for yourself, anything involved in this matchup?
No, because I still have to know who's pitching, and Detroit is refusing to announce who's pitching at this point.
Well, Garcia's going to be the opener.
Ronnie Garcia.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me punch up my board here. And Zimmer. Okay. I did do Ronnie Garcia. I'm sorry. And I came up with nothing because I don't know much about him. He's, a minor leaguer, and I don't even know if he's that good of a prospect. And the same thing kind of holds true for Zimmer at this point. He's, I know he's had a cup of coffee, but he's kind of an unknown quantity at this point. I just skipped this game. It looks like it could be high scoring if you want to take a shot at something.
I hope you can take a joke, Dave, but how about those Sox?
No, they're doing it exactly what I thought they'd do this year. They're a bad team, and they don't care. I mean, I'm really seeing that. This team looks like maybe the most talented team that's going to mail in the 60 games. I don't think they care at all. There's just no excitement, and that does tie into Fenway's a great home park. It's just, I mean, the fans are super intense on every pitch. They're highly critical, but I mean, they know their baseball. And an empty Fenway, it's kind of like a home field disadvantage at this point for the Red Sox. I don't want any part of them. I don't want any part of the Mets in this particular matchup. You got Hall pitching for the Red Sox. Can't say much about him. You got Peterson pitching for the Mets. I don't think he's much. Maybe the Red Sox bats come alive, but they're just not swinging them right now. So it's kind of a next. I'm not risking
an empty ballpark. It's a chance to avoid getting booed. It's a chance to not have to worry about anything.
They don't boo you unless you don't hustle.
Okay,
that's the one thing that the Red Sox nation will really give you a bad time about if they see you not hustling. Other than that, they're an extremely knowledgeable fan base. I mean, it's no hype. Baseball is a religion in New England, and it is a Red Sox nation. It's not just the Boston Red Sox; it's all in New England, and it's just I think that they might be hurt more than any other team by not having fans in the stands.
Matt, I've only had one ticket in my hand involving this Boston Red Sox team, and it's been an over. What do you think about this game here and this team overall from a totals perspective?
Well, Matt Hall last year had a 7.71 ERA for the Tigers. I went back and looked because he pitched a lot in AAA last year. Lefties hit 342 against him in AAA. Righties hit 261. So it's not even like he jumped to the majors. He had no success in AAA either. And then you look at Peterson. I was looking up his scouting report and stuff, and they were talking about how weak his curveball is and how there's just not enough spin rate on his pitches. Lefties hit him last year in AA, 272. Righties hit 258. I mean, look, neither of these pitchers have anything, but, as was said already, the Red Sox lineup should be able to tattoo Peterson, but they haven't done anything. I've had several Red Sox in my DFS lineups, and I just haven't had success with them so far. So I can't trust Boston. I can't trust the Mets right now, so this is a pass for me.
Teddy, I'm going to throw you to this one real quick. We'll skip to the next one here. We have Kelly taking on Gibson, Diamondbacks, and Rangers here. Any thoughts from you on this game?
So the last thing about the Red Sox, though, it's worth noting, number 2 in MLB in batting average, and Dave Cokin, number 2 in total bases, which speaks how bad their pitching is. Wind is blowing out to right at Fenway tonight. But when we talk about Arizona and Texas, there's a lot of things not to like about Texas early in the season. All that said, I watched a lot of Arizona and San Diego.
Yep.
And I didn't see a lot that made me excited to bet the D-backs either. And that was the series that I watched for how much action I had on it compared to how much time I spent with it. The ratio wasn't right. And again, we're talking about a game right here that's basically a pick 'em with a total of 9, which is, that's your MLB standard line for a game that nobody knows how it's going to play is, pick 'em at 9. I don't have a strong sense for this one. I really don't.
Dave Cokin, anything from you in this game?
Yeah, Gibson's interesting. You don't ever want him facing a lineup third time through because his numbers just go wild. But he was actually really good first time through the lineup last year, and we'll see if he can maintain that. That makes him viable as a back of the rotation guy if the manager knows going in that he can really only trust him for 5 innings and must get him out of there after that, unless he's having a great game or unless they're way ahead and you can afford to leave him out there for a couple of innings. So we'll see if Texas management handles him properly. I thought the Twins did. I thought Baldelli kind of knew what he was getting with Gibson, and he managed to get him out of there before a lot of trouble was done. Merrill Kelly is the embodiment of a number 4 starter. He does nothing particularly well. He does nothing horribly. He's a guy who's, very rarely is he going to go out there and dominate an opponent. And he might not have that many games where he gets blown up. But I think Gibson probably has an edge early in this game.
Matt, Angels, Mariners here. Angels, hefty favorites or decent-sized favorites. The same amount of favor that a lot of teams are going to be against this Mariners team, to say the least. Is this a game you're interested in going at or have any action on, or is it a pass for you?
Well, this is a game I'm going to be watching for the future because Justice Sheffield, there was a lot that came out this offseason about and how he performed so far in this summer. His last time out, he went 0-2, 1-2 on 75% of the hitters he faced. I mean, he's got some good stuff, and if he's ahead of these hitters, then I like what he can do. The question is, can he get ahead against actual hitters? The Angels line up better than the Mariners lineup. With regards to Sandoval, he's another guy tested positive for COVID, so he was a little delayed getting in. Last year, he had an ERA over 5 and 10 outings. And look, when you look at the Mariners, they have a 24.8% K rate against lefties last year. So once again, and I know we'll get to the DFS shortly, another guy who could strike out a bunch of batters tonight if you're looking for somebody cheap when it comes to DFS.
Teddy, you mentioned you were involved in the Mariners game yesterday. Is that correct?
Yeah. I cashed a run line against them.
Anything in this one?
So the one thing that Seattle was swinging good bats against Houston. Really, in multiple games. The first 2 games, they looked pretty it wasn't quite Dodgers-Giants level of embarrassment. And then, but the last 2 games of that series, we saw the Mariners taking good at-bats in a way they didn't. I didn't see the Angels taking any good at-bats in Oakland. I mean, really. Trout did. Other than that, it wasn't much. They had that one game from Ohtani where he didn't get anybody out, and they rallied, made it close, then couldn't go over the hump, and then get shut out yesterday. I know that this price is too high for me to get involved with the favorite here. I can only look at the dog, and I'm not excited about the over in this matchup.
Teddy, Dave and I had a great time doing an interview with a Korean baseball reporter, Jiho Yu, and he was talking about the 3-step approach or the 3 options, strikeout, walk, or home run. And I just found with this Angels team, it's exactly that. You look at Trout, we know what he's capable of doing, but every single swing is a moonshot. It is literally, hitting the moon or nothing with these guys, it seems. And to your point, especially with such a shortened season, that has to negatively impact them.
One would, and again, if this was the first week of April, we wouldn't be worried about any of this stuff. Oh, they'll round into form. Abbreviated summer training, and then you put the guys on the field, and what have we seen? A ton of base running mistakes, more than your fair share of mental miscues, fielding miscues, guys not getting bunt down. There's a fair bit of fundamental action that is going to take a week or 2 or 3 to play itself out and get the teams into midseason form. I would think that at some point this Angels lineup will be scoring more runs than they have so far, but it hasn't happened yet. And until it does, I'm going to be a reactive handicapper to this particular lineup, not a proactive one. I'm not going to try to guess when LA gets it right. I'm going to look for them to take good at bats, and then we'll start looking for spots to play on the Angels or play their games over the total.
I think they'll get healthy offensively back at home. Oakland's not the best park in the world to do it, and the A's pitching staff was good against them. I think they'll do better here. Sheffield, I know there's always been hype about this guy. Prove it. Okay? I mean, he's got to prove it. He has not done that at the major league level. And as for Sandoval, he's got a good fastball. He can get it up there at 95. But his secondary stuff isn't good, and his mechanics get out of whack at times. Watched him in one of the preseason games. And one inning, he looks like a guy who can pitch, and the next inning, he gets absolutely raked and gets knocked out of there. I think the offenses could be live tonight.
Matt, Johnny Outlaw, a very loyal viewer to Wager Talk TV, says Ohtani looks terrible at the plate. I had the luxury of fading him in his first start.
Looks terrible at everything.
What are you thinking about him at the plate right now? I mean, talk about time. Do we have time? I mean, I might sound like an impatient guy, but, what was it? I think someone said yesterday it was like, 6% through the season already. Do we have time for this?
The games count like 2.5 games. Each game is 2.5. It's 2.5 games if you do the math. Yeah. So all these games are important. Ohtani has done nothing well so far. Didn't pitch well. Had a base running blunder on Friday that might have cost the Angels the game.
Yep, Matt, I know you're a DFS guy. Like, obviously we're talking about sports betting, but what are you thinking here as far as just how this guy's going to be priced and how we're going to look at them priced when he's on the mound?
I mean, the guys he's around in DFS is the guys that the way he's hitting right now is who he should be. I mean, you could potentially, depending upon your lineup construction, continue to go to him and hope eventually he breaks out and then you lose that price because you're not going to get the price he's at now once he starts hitting. I'm not going to put him in. I know how cheap he is unless there's a situation where I can fit him in, but I'm not going out of my way to put Ohtani in my lineups right now.
Right back to you, Matt, with the Colorado Rockies, Oakland A's. I've had some success, backing this A's team early on. Good pitching we saw yesterday throughout the full 9. How do you feel about this matchup?
Well, I mean, it's the Rockies on the road, and we know how the Rockies are on the road. They didn't do much in Texas's spacious park here. Senzatel's dropped some weight in the offseason. He's worked on a few pitches, and there's some good reports. But last year, in 13 road starts, he had a 7.29 ERA. And, usually with the Colorado guys, you sit there and you say, all right, they'll be better on the road. Well, he wasn't. So this is one of those show me something things. Mengden would not have pitched right away if we had been back in April because he was coming off surgery on his elbow. Everything seems to be in line now. He's changed his delivery big time because he had a lot of, all sorts of machinations right now. He's got a good pace going. Plus, apparently he's got the stash going as well. So we'll have to see if that's like his Samson thing and he pitches better with it.
Teddy, I know we can't get involved in every single game, but I know you do your videos all the time with Drew Martin on the podcast, running through all the games. So I know you have no issue with this. Do you have any thoughts or opinions on this contest?
Yeah, so it's bet on versus bet on. I think we're going to make money with Colorado this year. I think we're going to make money with Oakland this year. So that's my approach to the game. It's 2 teams I want my money on, not a squad I want to bet against necessarily, but only one of the 2 teams come out of the gate necessarily the way. Certainly, Oakland's hitting at least a little bit. The Rockies, 168 team average, a 536.
They never hit on the road. They hit 230 on the road last year.
Yeah, well,
they're terrible away from course.
So, and they're hitting 70 points lower than that right now. So, the A's are priced fairly high for a reason. I would look at the Oakland side, but Colorado, I do think Colorado offers some value. I'm expecting to find spots to make money with the Rockies.
Well, because they've got a few guys who can pitch, and Senzatella might be one of them. But one thing he'll have to show is some improvement after he gets through the lineup one time. These were about the most spectacularly divided numbers that you'll find last year. First time through the lineup, he had an ERA of 4.20. When you consider that half his games were in course, that's pretty good. Second time through the lineup, 8.80 ERA.
Who do you think he is? Kyle Gibson?
Really? Well, Gibson, that doesn't happen to him until the third time through. But Senzatella looked really good. I mean, really good. And he was sharp in this last preseason game or summer camp, whatever you want to call it. He looked great. and maybe there's some hope for him. He's got decent stuff. What I would look for here, though, based on his track record, is hope the Rockies get ahead early and take a live shot with Oakland.
Teddy, I asked Tony Finn this yesterday on the show, and I want to ask you just real quick, not to get too far off topic. First of all, are you an in-game wager kind of guy?
Yes, absolutely, of course.
As far as this new rule, obviously having to face 3 batters as a pitcher, what are some certain spots that you'd look to jump in? We had a lot of guys asking that yesterday, and I think a lot of it might be preference-based, Teddy. I might think differently than you or Matt or Dave. What are sometimes you're looking to jump in, especially with these new rules?
So I'm definitely looking to play on overs in situations where I don't trust either bullpen, even when the starters have come in and shut teams down. You talk about the Brewers Pirates last night cashing over 5.5. That's right in that range. That's right in the wheelhouse. When it comes from, and I tend to get more involved in game totals than side. When I'm playing sides, I want a team that's down. I tend to look for a team that's down a little, down a run, that I'm going to get it catches a plus price, but still alive, and or a good team that for example, Houston yesterday after they fell behind 3-0. I took a little bit more Astros in pocket, which ended up being a good investment. So that's the types of situations I tend to look for is bullpens I don't trust, and or good teams that have fallen behind that are still very live.
Yeah, I think KC was like plus 300 or plus 400 yesterday. And
I wasn't looking at the Royals yesterday.
And I think it was priced that way for a reason, Teddy. Your thoughts on this Colorado game, Matt? Oh, sorry, we actually already went to you, didn't we?
Yep.
All right, well, this is our last one we'll go to, and then we're going to go to the DFS segment of the show where we go through a couple guys we think you should add into your DFS lineup if you're playing daily fantasy sports. I'll go right back to you here, Dave, on this one. I want to get your thoughts here on this San Fran team. Just overall thoughts.
This will take 2 seconds. They stink.
Okay.
How
are you looking to play them in this?
Their lineup is terrible. It's terrible. The Giants are a team you look to take unders in if you think it might be a good pitching matchup. Look, I mean, excuse me, Zach Davies. What's the price on this game now? It was $1.45 earlier.
Minus 135, minus 140.
Yeah, it's come down a little bit. He shouldn't be that much of a favorite against anybody on the road. I mean, he'll eventually get knocked out of the rotation by Mackenzie Gore, who's going to be great for San Diego. But I don't, to me, I actually took a look at the Giants' first 5 here because Samaja actually can once or twice through the lineup can be pretty good, but it's not enough. The odds makers made a nice adjustment for that because the first 5 on the game is $1.30 or $1.30. Where is it here? First half, 127. In fact, it's lower than that. So there's no value in it, and that quickly closed the book on me there. I'm not playing the Giants full game because San Diego's got a much better bullpen, and the bullpen will be fresh enough. So if this is close late, the Padres probably going to win it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants are ahead early. But it's not, unless you're getting like plus 130, then it might have been bettable, but not at plus 110. That's just terrible value.
Teddy, this is why I love the live chat. Somebody, Johnny Outlaw, says, Teddy did say good teams, Andrew, after I mentioned the Kansas City Royals to you. Definitely true. You did say that. I was just pointing out the value we could have gotten, and looking at the final result would have paid off. But obviously easier to say after the game is over. Do you have any action on this game, Teddy? Obviously a packed card. Every day it's going to be a packed card.
Sure, and I thought Cokin made the best point that you can make on this game, which is I want no part of San Francisco. And if you think I'm laying $140 on the road with Zach Davies, you're crazy. So it's I know I don't want the dog here. San Fran is a bad team. What do they have? They have 4 extra base hits in 4 games. And I know that's against the Dodgers staff and all that, but this is not a lineup that is going to outscore anybody. I think the Padres are a team that we can and will make money with, but this is not a hurler I'm particularly excited about laying a price with.
No. It's the worst lineup. I think it's the worst lineup in baseball.
I wouldn't argue with that.
I'm passing on this game personally, Matt. Do you have anything you can offer us?
I think the only way you play Giants games is the first 5 under, and it's probably on Cueto nights, and probably maybe if they have a hot shot prospect night. I mean, I'm just not doing it. Like the guy said, their lineup is so bad. I mean, if Joe McCarthy's hitting 6th, I mean, Darren Ruff was cleanup one. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And plus, I want nothing to do with Gabe Kapler when decisions need to be made.
Although I will say this,
the funny thing is, it might not even be because of great pitching. It's just poor batting.
I will say this, and believe me, I'm not a Gabe Kapler fan, but he did do a really good job in Sunday's game with the three batter minimum. He worked it it was a thing of beauty. I was stunned because if there's one guy I thought might screw it up, it'd be him.
Blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, there you go.
DFS stud and sleeper. We'll get into that right away here. Our next segment of our show. Matt, how are things been going so far at the MLB fantasy for you? And do you have anything for us this evening?
Well, as mad as I was that Hauser came back out there for my first 5 under, I was happy to at least salvage something. He did get about 20-something points, I think, in FanDuel because we gave him out yesterday. I'm going right back to that game for my pitcher. I think Lindblom tonight is worth a look. The Pirates are going to strike out a bunch of times. And
I'm laughing because I came up with the same guy.
Oh, I mean, Dave, it just makes sense. He's going to strike people out. The Pirates lineup sucks. I mean, I want to go as often as I can. And I think Lindblom's really cheap, by the way. I believe like 6,000 on FanDuel. So I'll take a chance on Lindblom. And then my hitter tonight is Whit Merrifield. He's been underpriced. He was like 3,000 yesterday. That's about where he is again today. Tigers sending out, guys from the stands, cardboard cutouts. I'll take the Royals' best hitter tonight.
Those really jokes aren't going to get old for me, Matt, just so you know. So keep them coming, please. Teddy, I apologize for putting you on the spot here. I don't know if you bet or you do daily fantasy. Do you have anything to offer with this segment?
I don't, so I'm going to pass. But that said, both names that you popped, I'm going to 100% agreement with both of them. Surely, Merrifield is a guy that he took some good at-bats in the last couple of ball games, and you're not paying a whole lot for him. And the ball's been flying in Detroit. That makes a ton of sense. And from a starting pitching standpoint, I would have no hesitation parroting mid-major Matt. I know that Cokin agrees as well. So for Friday's show, I'll do some work, and I know what we're going to do. So I'll get you guys some deep sleepers. For today, I apologize. Nothing, And the funny thing is, Merrifield was the one guy who was like, "Oh, Merrifield," so he beat me to it.
There's nothing wrong with everyone having the same opinion. I think it just makes it stronger.
So the rare consensus pitcher with Lindblom for daily fantasy. I'll take a shot.
Did he win back-to-back Cy Youngs in Korea, or the equivalent thereof?
Yeah, he's great in that
league. The last 2 years, so it's not even like 5 years ago.
Yeah. For the hitter, I want to try somebody who I think goes bridge, so I'll try Paul DeYoung against the guy who can give up homers in Homer Bailey.
Guys, this is the KBO show, the first pitch show for July 28th. I'm done with the KBO show. I don't know what I'm talking about there. I want to mention one more time because Matt is off to a 6-1 run to the MLB season and doing great work over at sportsmemo.com. You can find Teddy there as well, along with Wager Talk, Dave and myself at wagertalk.com. You can get Matt for 365 days, a full year. All of his picks, 5%, 4%, 3%, every single sport. $799. That's outstanding deal. Originally $19.99. So I wanted to mention that as well. And for the rest of us, for MLB action, use coupon code 399MLB to get the remainder of our season for just $399. And like I mentioned, both Dave and myself will throw in our KBO action for free. And it's not just throwing it in, because I think we're both doing all right.
No, it's been really profitable
with the season. So it's a pleasure doing the show with you guys as usual. We had up to 350 live viewers at once. Thank you so much to all of you taking time out of your day to join us. We hope we found some winners for you guys. We'll find that out later on tonight. For Teddy Covers, Matt Josephs, Dave Cokin, I'm Andrew McInnis. Have a great night. Good luck with your wagers.